Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. We're diving into the sun today.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, and looking at all this source material you sent over. Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
I have to say,
Yeah.
before we even get into it,
Yeah.
shout out to our friends over at Mickytolife on YouTube.
Yes.
If you want some travel inspiration, whiskey recommendations, or just see someone living their best life, go check them out.
Such a fun channel.
I know, right? But okay, back to the sun.
All right.
Going through these sources, Sunny, I was really struck by how much you actually embody the spirit of the sun.
Oh, is that right?
I'm serious.
How so?
So like one of the sources we've got here. Okay.
Okay.
It describes the sun's warmth and radiance and positive energy.
Okay.
And honestly, those are the exact words that come to mind when I think of you.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
I think we can agree, though, that the sun is slightly more powerful than I am.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But that brings up a really great point.
Okay.
Before we get into like the hardcore science of it all,
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to kind of explore how we as humans connect with the sun on a personal level.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not every day we get to combine philosophy and astrophysics.
Exactly.
What's your risk fingerprint when it comes to the sun?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the sun, I'm definitely a calculated risk taker.
Okay.
I love spending time outdoors, but I'm also very aware of the dangers.
Yeah.
I always make sure to wear sunscreen, avoid the strongest rays of the day.
Right. It's like finding that perfect balance
Exactly.
between enjoying the benefits and respecting its power.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in moderation.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
We've got a ton of fascinating research to unpack.
Okay.
We'll take a look at how different cultures think about the sun.
Interesting.
And even explore some wild new technologies that are basically trying to, like, bottle sunshine.
Bottle sunshine. I like that.
So get ready for some aha moments.
Sounds fun.
Because I think we're going to have a bunch of them today.
Yeah.
I think one of the most interesting things about sunshine is that it can be, really good for you, but also kind of dangerous. It's this weird balance, right?
Totally. A delicate balance, you could say.
So let's start with the good stuff.
Okay.
Everybody knows that being out in the sun on a sunny day can just make you feel better.
Yeah.
But what's the actual science behind that?
Well, vitamin D is a big part of it. You know how when sunlight hits your skin,
Yeah.
it kickstarts the production of vitamin D?
Right.
And there's actually a lot of research that shows a strong link between vitamin D and serotonin.
And serotonin is?
It's a neurotransmitter, and it basically regulates your mood.
So it's like the brain's happy chemical.
Exactly. You could call it that.
Wow. So it's not just in our heads.
Nope.
There's like a chemical reason why we feel happier on sunny days.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it, right?
It really is.
It makes those sunny days even more special, I think.
For sure. And there's actually some research out of Finland.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a country that doesn't get a lot of sunlight in the winter.
Yeah, those winters are long and dark.
And their research has shown that light therapy, which is basically like mimicking sunlight, can really improve people's moods.
Especially people dealing with seasonal affective disorder.
Oh, SAD? Yeah.
It can make a huge difference for them.
SAD is definitely a real thing.
Right.
I've totally felt those winter blues before.
Yeah, me too. It's hard to escape sometimes.
So, I'm curious, have you ever noticed a change in your own mood?
Oh, yeah.
Or your energy levels, depending on how much sun you're getting?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
I think most people have, right? It's like you just feel more energized and upbeat when it's a bright, sunny day.
Totally.
Compared to like a gray, overcast one.
Right.
It's almost like an instinct,
Totally. But we can't just talk about sunshine and all the good stuff without talking about the downsides too, right?
It's true.
Because as much as we love that sunshine, we got to be careful too.
We do.
What are some of those downsides that we need to keep in mind?
Well, we talked about moderate sun exposure being important for vitamin D, right?
Yeah.
But too much sun can be a bad thing.
Right.
We can't forget about UV radiation. And overexposure to UV radiation can actually damage your skin's DNA.
Oh, wow.
And over time, that increases your risk of skin cancer.
That makes sense, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is.
No wonder people, especially in places like Australia where skin cancer rates are really high, get nervous about too much sun.
For sure.
I remember learning about their, what was it called?
Their Slip, Slop, Slap campaign. Yeah, Slip, Slop, Slap.
It was all about encouraging people to protect themselves from the sun.
Like slipping on a shirt.
Yeah, slopping on some sunscreen.
And slapping on a hat.
Exactly. A great campaign.
Really smart.
It definitely got people thinking about sun safety.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, do people who live in sunny places all year round, do they just take it for granted?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And then, on the other hand, do people who don't get a lot of sun, do they end up, like, craving it more?
Interesting.
And maybe that even leads to more anxiety about not getting enough.
That sunlight anxiety we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating how the amount of sun you get can really affect how you view it, you know?
It really is. And that actually leads perfectly into our next topic.
Oh, yeah.
Which is how different cultures all over the world view sunshine.
I love this part.
It's so cool how something as universal as the sun can have such different meanings to different people.
It really is.
So let's jump into that and explore some of those fascinating cultural perspectives.
Let's do it. I mean, in some cultures, especially in places where there's sunshine all the time, people really appreciate the sun and what it does. Like, they see it as this life-giving force.
Right. Like, it's not just about how it makes you feel, but it's like essential for life itself.
Exactly. And you can even see it in their mythology.
Oh, totally.
Their celebrations, even just like their daily routines. The sun is just like woven into their culture.
It's true. Like, in a lot of tropical places, sunshine is all about warmth and abundance. And some even see it as this, like, spiritual energy.
Oh, absolutely.
You see it in festivals they have for the summer solstice. Or, like, think about all those ancient sun gods.
Right.
That were worshipped because they gave life.
It's like a cultural reverence for the sun.
Totally. But then you contrast that with cultures that live in places where there's not much sun.
Yeah.
Especially during those long, dark winters.
Yeah, those winters can be brutal.
Sunshine is like this precious commodity. Something to really enjoy and appreciate when it finally shows up.
Love that. Precious commodity.
It's like, you know, in those Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Where the winters are super long and dark.
Oh, yeah. And when spring finally arrives.
It's like a huge celebration.
It is. They go all out.
All sorts of traditions to welcome back the sun.
And it makes sense, right? They've been deprived of sunlight for so long.
It's like this collective sigh of relief, you know?
Totally. And you know what's interesting? Some researchers think that this difference in how much sun people get can actually lead to some psychological differences, too.
Oh, really?
Like, people who live in sunny places all the time, they might have a higher, like, tolerance for the sun.
Like, they just don't even notice it as much anymore.
Exactly. They're not as sensitive to the changes in sunlight.
That's so fascinating.
It is. And then, on the other hand, do you think that people who don't get as much sun, are they more sensitive when it's gone?
Oh, that's a great question.
Like, could that actually amplify the whole sunlight anxiety thing we were talking about?
Right, because their bodies are craving that sunshine boost.
Exactly. Like, think about the people living in those places with super short winter days.
Yeah.
They might have a much bigger drop in their mood and energy just because they're not getting enough sun.
And that makes sense when you think about how vitamin D affects your mood.
Right. It all ties back to that.
If you're not getting enough sun, your body isn't making enough vitamin D.
And that can really mess with your mental well-being.
It's like a chain reaction.
It is. And I think it just highlights how we need to think about all these different perspectives when we talk about sunshine and happiness. Like, what's true for one person might not be true for another.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
It's definitely not. And, you know, all this talk about different perspectives makes me think about the future.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with climate change happening and all this new technology coming out, it feels like we're entering this whole new phase in our relationship with the sun.
Totally.
It's like a new frontier or something.
Yeah, it's like, on the one hand, we have all these challenges.
Yeah.
Like with climate change potentially affecting how much sun we get.
Right.
But then we also have all this amazing tech coming out that's trying to replicate sunshine.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is.
Like, you have your light therapy lamps.
Right.
And then there are those crazy artificial sunlight systems.
Oh, yeah, the ones that try to copy the entire spectrum of the sun.
It's wild. And it's really promising, especially for people who have SSED.
Yeah.
Or for those who just don't get a lot of natural sunlight.
It's amazing what technology can do.
It is. But it also makes you wonder,
But
can it really replace the real thing?
yeah.
Like, are there any downsides to relying on artificial light instead of the real deal?
That's a great question.
It's a whole new set of things to think about.
And that's exactly what we're going to be diving into in the last part of our deep dive today.
I can't wait.
But before we get there,
I'm
curious, what's been the most surprising thing you've learned today?
Ooh, Good question.
I mean, it's amazing to think that we're at a point where we can, like, try to recreate sunshine in a lab.
I know, right?
But it makes you wonder, can we really capture all the complexity of the sun?
Well, it's super complicated, that's for sure.
Right.
Like, we've made a lot of progress, especially when it comes to, helping people with SA or people who just don't get enough natural light for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And these technologies are great for, like, vitamin D production and mood regulation, but there's still so much we don't know about how sunlight affects us.
Yeah, it's not just about vitamin D, right?
Exactly.
It does so much.
Like, it helps us sleep. It boosts our immune system. It even messes with our hormones.
It's involved in a lot of important processes.
Can artificial light really do all that? Honestly, I don't think we have a definitive answer yet.
Yeah.
It seems like artificial light can be helpful, like a good supplement when you're not getting enough of the real deal.
Right.
But it's not a replacement.
So I guess the takeaway here is get outside and soak up that sun whenever you can.
Definitely. Just remember to be safe about it.
Right. Wear your sunscreen, protect your skin.
Exactly. Enjoy it, but don't overdo it.
And speaking of the future, we have to talk about climate change.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
How do you think climate change is going to affect our access to sunshine?
It's not something people talk about a lot, but it's a really important issue.
For sure.
I mean, think about all the extreme weather we're seeing. Things like smog, heat waves. It can make it really hard to enjoy the sun safely.
It's true. You don't want to be out there getting scorched.
No, not at all. And as these events become more and more common, we need to think about how that's going to affect everyone's access to sunshine.
Especially people who are already vulnerable.
Exactly. It's a social justice issue, too.
That's a really good point.
It's crazy to think that, like, something as basic as sunshine could become a luxury in the future.
Like who knew sunshine could be so deep?
It is a pretty fascinating...
Okay, so I have to start with these compliments for Sunny. Seriously, they're like out of a love song, but like for the SEN,
I am intrigued.
We got stuff like sunshine smile, radiance like 1,000 stars, warmth like the afternoon sun.
Wow, these are quite evocative.
I know. Like, can you picture Sunny with these? So you can.
Well, it is interesting how they go beyond just, physical descriptions. They really tap into that feeling sunshine gives you, a warmth.
Yeah.
Joy, energy. It's like Sunny brings that same feeling, but like as a person.
It's true. I'd love to have that superpower, honestly. Walk into a room and bam, everyone's happy and it's all because of me.
Maybe that's why they send all those compliments. Speaking of superpowers, though, we should move on to that outline about sunshine itself.
Well, we've covered a lot today.
Yeah.
From the science of how sunshine makes us happy to the ways different cultures see the sun.
Yep.
We talked about technology, climate change, even a little bit of philosophy.
It's been a whirlwind.
It has. So, as a listener, what's sticking with you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What are you going to walk away thinking about?
For me, it's just realizing how important sunshine really is.
Yeah.
It's not just about, light and warmth. It really impacts our lives in so many ways.
It affects how we feel, our health, even how productive we are.
And how different cultures see the world.
It really is this amazing force that connects us all.
It's a powerful thought.
It is. And as we think about the future, with all its challenges and opportunities, we need to remember that connection.
We do.
We need to appreciate the sun, be smart about the risks.
For sure.
And make sure everyone has access to it.
Beautifully said.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
Next time you feel the sun on your face, really take a moment to appreciate it.
I love that.
It's a gift, a source of life.
It is.
And a reminder that we're all connected to nature.
Well said.
Or just spreading the word about the importance of sunshine. Like, be an ambassador for sunshine.
I love that. A sunshine ambassador. We need more of those in the world.
We do. So basically, be more like Sunny. Bring that sunshine to everyone, literally and metaphorically.
Beautifully said. On that note, I think it's time to let our listeners bask in the afterglow of this, dare I say, enlightening deep dive.
Go soak up some sun, everyone, safely, of course.
And let us know what you're thinking. What sunshine-inspired thoughts are brewing in your mind? We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for joining us on this sun-drenched journey. We'll catch you next time.